Hillary Rodham Clinton is out with a new book. It's out today, or at least the advanced galleys are out today. And among many other things in there, she claims that in the year 2000, her husband offered a two-state solution proposal to Ehud Barak, the former chief of staff of the IDF and then the prime minister, a political liberal by Israeli standards. And he accepted it, but Yasser Arafat would not. She blames Arafat for everything that happened since then and said that if he had accepted her husband's proposal, the Palestinians, instead of having lost what she says is 41,000 people, we all know the number is multiples of that greater, would be celebrating their 23rd anniversary as a sovereign country. Have you ever heard such a claim?
Oh, sure. Bill Clinton himself made this claim after the Camp David negotiations failed in 2000. Let me give you a little background on this case. Bill Clinton was in his last year in the White House. This is 2000. And he was deeply committed to creating some sort of peaceful agreement between the Israelis and the Palestinians, which in his mind meant a two-state solution. So I think there's no question that Clinton's heart was in the right place. And he pushed both Barak and Arafat to meet at Camp David in the summer of 2000. Now, Arafat said, I don't want to meet. Arafat said, we have not done enough preliminary legwork to produce a meaningful agreement. Clinton put enormous pressure on Arafat to come. Arafat said, I'll go to Camp David, but I want to be clear that I don't think this is going to work out. And if it doesn't work out, I don't want you to blame me. In other words, I don't want you to stab me in the back. So they went to Camp David. They negotiated. It was a very dysfunctional negotiating process.
Did Clinton agree not to stab him in the back?
Yes, he did. Of course he did. And of course, the negotiations failed, right? They did not reach an agreement. The idea that there was an agreement that Clinton had crafted, a final agreement, it was presented to Barak, Ehud Barak, and he accepted it, and Arafat rejected it, is simply not true. And in fact, after Camp David failed, the two sides continued to negotiate because there was a possibility of a deal. There's no question about that. But there was no deal reached at Camp David. Camp David broke up. And of course, Bill Clinton stabbed Arafat in the back. He blamed Arafat for the failure. And the story that Hillary is now telling is the story that Bill told after Camp David failed. And Arafat, who foolishly went to Camp David believing that Clinton would be true to his word, ended up being the bad guy. And if you talk to most supporters of Israel in the United States today, they'll tell you that story every time. It's a story that's constantly repeated. And Hillary now repeating it will just give more ammunition to Israel's supporters to make the argument that we'd all be living happily ever after had it not been for Arafat, which is another way of saying if it hadn't been for those evil Palestinians.